Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with a Salamangreat deck profile. It's been a minute since we've done one of these. It's been a little bit too long. I really enjoy Salamangreat. I like a lot of Cyber decks. Link climbing triggers a lot of the same endorphins in my brain that synchro climbing does. But so Salad is one of my favorites in particular because it actually manages to stay almost pretty much entirely within archetype in terms of its overall combo and construction, and particularly the extra deck, which a lot of Cyber decks don't usually do. So here, there's a lot of different ways that you can start your combo lines. Speedroid Terratop is actually a great non-engine way, or I guess non-Salamangreat way, to do that. Enable you to go into a rank 3, that being the Mirage Shalio, which is generic, to get your plays going. But you also have plays if you open Salamangreat of Fire or Gazelle by themselves, and I'm going to be showing you a little bit of what those combo lines might look like. For the overall construction of this deck, I actually took a page out of some of the top 100 DC players. I think I pulled, this list is mostly one of theirs. I mean, it's a pretty typical Salamangreat list, to be fair either way, but I have added Mulcharmby Fualos because we do play a fair amount of hand traps here. This is one of those decks, though, where it's a little bit debatable how good Fualos actually is here, or at least it could be, because we don't really have an inherent use for Fualos. It's not like we're playing Small World like with Mathmech. It's not like we're playing rank 4s like with Mathmech. And honestly, a lot of actually, I think pretty much every Link monster in our deck needs a pretty specific type of material, save for like Hita, Little Knight, and Promethean Princess. But to be fair, a lot of the time you really do need your normal summon for, if not Salad of Fire, a different Salad monster, and then going into Gazelle, or just normal summoning Gazelle, right? So Fualos, I could definitely see cutting if you don't have Fualos but want to play Salamangreat. Don't feel like you need to craft it just to play this deck. I think in this build, or this deck rather, it is pretty optional. But I still think it's a pretty good card, so we're going to jam 3 of it, because we can. I mean, if not this, we'd just be playing like more Imperms, more Veilers, a triple tack, which, I mean, you could make arguments for those being better than Fualos, and I don't think you would be inherently wrong, but this card's new and I want to try it. So we're going to be playing it here. I mean, it's also not a bad crossout target, to be fair, to even just have one copy. But yeah, like I said, I mean, for the most part, otherwise, this ends up being a pretty standard list. The end board, for those who, because we haven't covered Salamangreat for a while, so for those of you who aren't familiar with this deck, the end board is going to often be the Promethean Princess set up in the graveyard as a form of disruption. You'll have the Pyro Phoenix is going to be your main form of disruption. By ending on this with the Code of Soul in the graveyard, you can use the Graveyard effect during your opponent's main phase, as long as you have, of course, the Sanctuary in play, and then you can use Pyro Phoenix to just go into another copy, destroying all cards your opponent controls. So the combo line doesn't end on like a ton of different forms of disruption, but what it does end on, a board wipe, is still sufficient to deal with a lot of opponents, for sure. Actually, I know we have a replay in particular where we are able to get away with not even needing the board wipe, but well, yeah, actually that's kind of true of both games. Anyway, I'm kind of spoiling things. We'll get into those. I think that's a lot of the big appeal here is the board wipe action. A lot of the previous builds that I played were on another one of the trap cards. What was it called? Yeah, this one, Rage, for the potential double board wipe. But the way that we're doing our combo lines, we are mostly going to be setting up actually the Will of the Salamangreat as our spell trap search off the Raging Phoenix. So it's like, if you already open Will, or you will pretty much always need this to combo, but if you open it, then we're going to go for the counter trap Salamangreat War. The reason that we're focusing, by the way, on Will of the Salamangreat is for its second effect, which is just straight up Soul Charge for the archetype, as you'll be targeting a Link 4 Raging Phoenix for the effect. Getting to bring back 4 Salamangreat monsters is pretty exceptional. Yeah, this deck has seen a lot of pretty good success lately in the Duelist Cup, as mentioned, and a lot of that is for its ability to put up a Honestly, a pretty impressive turn 1 board. You know, if you think about going against Tempai, right? Having like a board wipe as well as a pretty targeted form of destruction is both pretty good. In particular, if they go to activate like the Sangen summoning, you can potentially eat that with the board wipe and then snipe the Shundra with the Promethean Princess when they go to special from hand. So that's a pretty good way to clean up the Tempai board inherently like to the combo line. And of course, the fact that Sangen summoning is at 1 and is less likely to be in play means that the Pyro Phoenix is definitely going to be quite a bit better as far as board wiping them, right? And stopping their setup. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything I have to say. Like I said, I'm not really doing anything like super out of the order at this list. As far as Salamangreat decks go, this one is fairly standard. So why don't we go ahead and break the list down card by card, and I'll show you some games that'll show off how this deck can combo. We're going to be playing 2 Effect Veiler, 3 Max C, 3 Salamangreat of Fire. I was going to say, I guess I could talk about this for a second, because I know I've said in the past that, oh, 1 is fine, you really only need 1. I think 3 does end up being really optimal, though. You can only play 1, that is very true, but this card being a 1-card starter means that you really do want to be playing 3, ideally. But so we've got 3 Salamangreat of Fire, 3 Speedroid Terratop, 1 Speedroid Takatomborg, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Salamangreat Gazelle, 1 Salamangreat Spinny, 1 Salamangreat Weasel, 1 Code of Soul, 1 Salamangreat Jaguar, 3 Mulch Army Fuelos, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being. We got 2 Cyanite Mining, 1 Salamangreat Sanctuary, 1 Will of the Salamangreat, 2 Called by the Grave, 3 Salamangreat Circle, 1 Crossout Designator, 1 Salamangreat Charge, 2 Infinite Permanents, and then 1 Salamangreat Roar. That's our main deck. For the extra deck, we're on 1 Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Horse Prince, 1 Salamangreat Mirage Stalio, 3 Salamangreat Balinx, 1 Cyberus Wicked, 2 Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, 1 Hita the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames, 2 Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix, and then 2 Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. There's our list. Let's see some games. Alright, I want to start off with a game against Branded. That's really going to highlight what this deck can pull off of the back of just a single Salamangreat of Fire, I think is how we start here. We do also have the Circle as well, but I think that actually comes up in response to, we'll see. Anyway, got a Mining Pitch to Fuelos for the Salamangreat of Fire, normal summon Salad of Fire, and activate in order to add ourselves a Gazelle. Now we're going to link off the Salad of Fire in order to link summon the Balinx. From there, we're going to get to activate the Gazelle effect and special summon. We already have Sanctuary in hand, so Balinx didn't activate. As you can see, my opponent has chosen to use Ash Blossom against the Gazelle effect, so I'm going to chain Circle. As I was about to say earlier, this was technically a starter plus an extender, but we needed the extender to continue our 1-card combo anyway. Normally, Gazelle would simply send Spinny from the deck to the graveyard. Here I'm going to use Spinny's effect to discard, and then bring it back by its effect. Now we can overlay the Gazelle plus the Spinny going into our Salamangreat Mirage Stalio. From there, the Mirage Stalio can detach, special summoning Salamangreat Weasel from the deck. If you didn't start with Salad of Fire, you would grab it here and then search Weasel, but we did start with Salad of Fire, so... Now you want to link everything, all 3, into Promethean Princess. This is a bit different from some of the other combo lines I've shown, but here, we're going to end up going into the Raging Phoenix off the Promethean Princess, plus whatever she brings back. Now we can, when Sanctuary is in play, link off Raging Phoenix for Raging Phoenix. And as we touched upon in the deck profile, that is going to let us search our Will of the Salamangreat. We can activate that, and as mentioned, we can special summon 4 Salamangreat monsters because our Raging Phoenix is a link 4, and we'll summon it using a copy of itself. Now, here I synchro summon using the Weasel plus Spinny. I should have done Weasel plus Gazelle to get Gazelle in the graveyard to potentially add back to hand. Same with the Salad of Fire. I should have linked that off sooner to potentially add it back here, but slightly unoptimized version of the combo line, I suppose. Very minor misplay, extremely minor. We're going to synchro for Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Horse Prince, going for Code of Soul. Alright, now here, we're only using the Weasel effect. We want to save that for after the Salamangreat of Rage, or rather Salamangreat Raging Phoenix, for when that's already in the graveyard. Because, of course, we get to summon it once the Promethean Princess pops one of our monsters plus whatever Balanx puts on the opponent's field. And this is why you want one of those two monsters, Gazelle or Salad of Fire, in the yard, is to add off of Sunlight Wolf's effect. Again, it's really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but it could end up mattering. Now, using Code of Souls effect, which you should have activated while it was on the field, we can use Sunlight Wolf's effect to add back Will of the Salamangreat. Can't use it this turn, of course, but it is still very nice to have that in our hand. Linking into Pyro Phoenix, and there we go. That's our turn 1 end board. That's about what it should look like if you are doing the 1-card combo line. If you're on, you can optionally play Sprint and Meow Mine, like Sprite Sprint, to dump Meow Mine and add that as another form of disruption here, but I don't really like adding the Meow Mine to the extra. It's not really a brick per se, but they're just other cards I wanted to play. Alright, they're going to go Fusion Deployment for Albaz. I don't need to use Ash Blossom on the deployment because I can simply Promethean Princess, pop the extra Salad of Fire, and then the Albaz. That's why I don't mind ending on the leftover Salad of Fire or just Salamangreat monster in general either, is because you can just pop it with Promethean Princess. This also lets us bring back our second Raging Phoenix, adding even more power to our end board. They're going to go Libellion for Saronir, that's fine. The Albion effect to send the branded Counter Trap Retribution, that's what it's called. Yeah, so I figured this is probably what they're going to do when I saw Cartesia, is fuse it with the Saronir. Mainly to use Saronir's effect to send branded fusion to the graveyard, and then add it back with the Retribution. But we're just holding Ash Blossom here. I've also toggled off during all of this, by the way, to ensure that my opponent doesn't have an inkling that I have the Ash Blossom in hand. They did already try to play around it, but yeah, there we go. Saving it for the Brave Diffusion. They also dumped off Dark Magician earlier, I noticed, which is kind of interesting, but alright, moving to battle phase, they end up crashing into the Prom Princess for some reason, I guess to trigger Cartesia, but like, that's fine. I don't really care about that. Yeah, at this point, we can pretty easily just move to battle phase and then take the win from there. So there you go. That's a pretty nice, good example of not only setting up the turn 1 end board, but also then using our disruption. And yeah, if you notice, I didn't even end up needing the Pyro Phoenix. By the way, I still had a whole board wipe left over that I didn't even need to end up using because, yeah, Ash Blossom is pretty good against branded, if you can believe that. Anyway, that's it for our first game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Okay, our next opponent is on White Forest Centurion, but it's like weird. It's a weird build, I'll say, because they're not playing any hand traps. They're playing all like board breakers instead, like Dark Ruler no more, Evenly, Forbidden Droplet, Troll Tactics Talent, all those instead of, like I say, Ash Blossom and Max C, but those are about the only hand traps I saw. Anyway, we're leading with the Speedway Terratop here. Gonna normal summon the Weasel after that gets Ash Blossomed. It's really not a big deal for this to get Ash Blossomed with this kind of a hand, but it means we're pretty much going to end up with the normal turn 1 end board. Like, we're not going to end up getting to do anything super fancy here. To be fair, the way the extra deck is set up... excuse me, sorry about that. The way the extra deck is set up, you don't really get to do too much fancy, even if you open extra extenders. One thing I could have done, I will say, one thing I could have done with a hand like this is gone into Cyber Swikid, but that would have only mattered if I didn't open with Weasel, which I already did. So, but that would have been an extra search, to be fair, which would have freed up the, what normally searches Weasel? Salad of Fire, right? To add another extender, potentially, or something, but it's not really that much you could add, honestly. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the extra deck is kind of built in such a way that we are really focusing on that kind of end board that we built at the end of the last game, right? I think for me, the most counterintuitive part of this combo line is what we just did there, linking 3 monsters into the Promethean Princess. I'm so used to link climbing that using 3 monsters to make a Link 3 feels wasteful to me. Like, for some reason, I feel like I should go into a Link 2 first, but you actually don't really need to for this combo line. Because the link to Sunlight Wolf, or I guess one of them, but the Salamangreat link to Sunlight Wolf, again, we're going to go into later and use that to add a bunch of stuff back from grave to hand. Yep, Raging Phoenix for Will. Will can bring back... here I misplayed a little bit, and I can only bring back 3 things as a result, but it's not really going to matter anyway, like I said. I already have more than enough bodies to combo, so... Yeah, going into Brotherhood with the Weasel is so important to get that Code of Soul online. And again, you gotta remember to activate the Code of Soul's effect while it's on the field. Excuse me. Okay, there's the Sunlight Wolf, and then we can activate Weasel effect. Again, you gotta wait until Raging Phoenix is already in the graveyard to activate Weasel effect. That way it can activate to revive itself. And of course, by putting Prom Princess under the Sunlight Wolf, we get to add the effect to add back... Activate the effect, rather, to add back a card. Getting back Salad to Fire here. Now I'm actually playing the combo line optimally. Alright, here is the Pyro Phoenix. See, the thing is, like, you'd have to have a lot of extenders to be able to do this, but I guess the most you could really add to your combo line is an SP Little Knight. But you would need to do that before activating Salad of Fire's effect, because that does fire lock you, right? And sometimes this is your opener. So even whether or not you can add Little Knight is kind of up for debate sometimes. Here my opponent's going to start with normal summon Sylvie, and I decided to effect Veiler this. Sometimes I like to Veiler or Imperm or whatever monster effect negate early in a combo line, especially if I have something like a board wipe on the field, because I'm basically forcing my opponent to have extenders in their hand as opposed to being able to dig for something out of the deck, right? And once they use up more resource from hand, then I feel more comfortable board wiping and that being enough to completely stop them. So that's why I chose to Veiler as my first form of interaction here. I think what order you choose to use your disruptions in super duper matters, and that's something that not a lot of people talk about. Here they're going to triple attack to take control. I'm just going to let them take the Pyro Phoenix. Note that triple attack doesn't target, and if I had activated Code of Soul to link into Pyro Phoenix and they took it, they would have gotten the board wipe effect, so we're definitely not activating that here. They're going to go into Little Knight. I can summon Gazelle because one of my monsters left the field. They can banish Raging Phoenix. That doesn't really matter here. Alright, here's the Elzette. It's going to add the Rukia. And then now I'm going to use Promethean Princess on Gazelle and Elzette. They chain Little Knight on Gazelle. I think that they thought that I wouldn't get to use the effect here, but no, that's not how Prom Princess works. Only one of them needs to be in play. And I guess they got a little frustrated at that point and decided to concede. They also were probably just out of plays at that point. They only had 2 cards left in hand. One of which is the Rukia they just added, which can't be used now because they no longer control White Forest monster. And the other of which probably wasn't enough to do anything by itself. So it wasn't, and they lost. Anyway. Yeah, we got one more game that I'm going to show off here. Let's finish off with that one. Alright, my final opponent is going to be on Pearly, which I haven't seen forever on ladder. It's right up there with Rescue Ace as a deck that is not bad. It's just that nobody plays it because it's kind of boring. But this game is mostly just going to be me doing some gross stuff with Molcharmi Fuelos, because this is something that I didn't really talk about or touch on too much in my last video talking about Fuelos, is that not only is opening Fuelos plus Max C good, but Fuelos doesn't have the same drawback as Max C where, you know, opening multiple copies is bad. Because if we look at the restriction on the bottom, it says you can only activate one other Molcharmi monster effect the turn you activate this card. And that's the restriction. So that's across all the 3 Molcharmis. Well, we don't have the 3rd one, Master Duel, yet, but you know what I mean. It's across all Molcharmi monsters. But more importantly, what that means is that you can actually play 2 Fuelos in one turn. So we're chaining Fuelos to the Pearly effect. We're going to chain Sleeping Memory. I'm chaining my second Fuelos here. And they chain a second Sleeping Memory. Now, at this point, I'm actually going to use my Ash Blossom. And the reason that I want to use Ash Blossom here is that I don't want to give my opponent any amount of summons here that are going to give me draws, especially since I'm looking to get at least 2, if not 3 draws off this chain link alone, right? So there are a lot of times where it's more optimal to use Ash Blossom later in the combo line, but in this situation, I decided to just go for it here. So when negating the first sleeping memory, they're choosing not to summon off the second one. They're only going to summon off the Pearly effect to give me only 2 draws instead of 3. Our opponent actually opened all 3 sleeping memory, which is like... It's debatable if that's a good or bad hand, honestly. It can be debated. Alright, setting 1 card and then passing on the Pearly Noir. They go to draw a card. I actually debated on this for a moment during my standby phase here, if I wanted to imperm this Pearly Noir or not. Excuse me. There's actually an argument to not doing it here, because it's only 1 draw, and I have a call by anyway, so if they get most hand traps, then I could just use the call by on it. Now, to be fair, if they get Nibiru, which is like one of Salamangreat'S greatest enemies, I can't call by that. That's the main reason why I activated Imperm here. Because like you could make an argument that if I'm somehow not able to OTK this turn, then I would want the Imperm for the stop potential follow-up plays, but... yeah, I decided to hedge and play against Nib instead of not being able to OTK. I mean, I've got Salad of Fire and Circle, so I think I should be good. And our opponent's going to concede anyway, so yay. Alright, that is going to do it for our salad games. Thank you, as always, for checking these out. Sorry my throat was a little scratchy. I was coughing a little bit in this one, but I'm all good. I think I've just been talking a lot. I've been recording quite a bit lately. So anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you again. Let's move on now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.